I often get asked by boards, should our CEO also sit on the board? And of course, when a CEO sits on the board, they become a managing director, or sometimes also called an executive director. It's a question that I think boards need to really ponder carefully. Why would we do this? What's the rationale? And I see various reasons put up for why boards think that this is a good idea. One of them, and often in closely held companies and ASX listed companies, it's actually about aligning personal wealth, which is invariably in the remuneration structures of a CEO, and that's why they want to sit at the boardroom table, they want to be part of the decision-making function of the organisation. Other reasons I hear is that it's alignment of liabilities. Now that one is a little bit tricky because actually directors and officers have fundamentally the same duties with only a few exceptions, and they're around insolvent trading. Another reason I sometimes see the CEO sitting on the board is because it helps with some sort of constitutional or other requirement about board composition. Not sure that's the best way to actually make board composition requirements though, because if you've only got one skill set that your CEO's got and then your CEO sits on the board, who's challenging constructively the CEO in that skill area? In other cases where I've seen the CEO sit on the board and become the managing director, I have seen some issues arise, and I think these are pretty core to this whole question. Fundamentally, when you put the CEO on the board, you're blurring that distinction between governing, being the board's role, and managing, being the management's role. And the CEO, of course, is head of management. So when the CEO is the head of management and they're sitting on the board, they're really wearing two hats. And that can, in practice, can cause some confusion. When the CEO comes in the boardroom with the management team, are they with the management team or are they questioning the management team? There's also some practical issues. If the board wants to have an in-camera session where you've got a managing director, are they in that session or out of that session? Practically, what I see many boards do is have independent non-executive director sessions, and that way you can legitimately ask the managing director not to be present. One of the contexts in which I see CEOs go onto boards and which often causes me concern is where the board is not strong or the board is failing and the CEO feels that they need to be on that board in order to bolster the governance of the organisation, and that's obviously not a desirable outcome in those circumstances. You're better off dealing with the underlying issues. So hopefully there's some good food for thought there on whether a CEO should also sit on the board.